Creed 3 on deck. Creed 3 on deck. I need the cast of Creed 3 to come to the front of the class. Michael B. Jordan, I need you at the front of the class. Tessa Thompson, I need you at the front of the class. Jonathan Majors, I need you at the front of the class. Felicia Rashad, will you please politely come to the front of the class? Not the back of the class, not right outside the door talking about something we here but not really here. I need you not physically here and mentally checked out. I need you all here and present. We need to talk. We need to chat. Creed 3 hit theaters last Friday, March 3rd, and here in the year of our Lord, 2023, in the great month of March. Became the highest grossing film domestically, sports film domestically, with a little over $58 million in its opening weekend. A little over $101 million gross to date. We need to talk. We need to talk. My name is Michael Miles. This is the Plot Twist 215. And today I'm going to give you a movie review of Creed 3. We need to talk. But before we do that, of course, please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. And also, as an announcement, please make sure that you head to Spotify and follow the Plot Twist 215 podcast. Just today, actually, I released the first episode of the podcast. It's the Plot Twist 215, no spaces, 215 just type Plot Twist 215 and it should come up. Please feel free to follow that. Help me get to my first 100 followers on the podcast. That will be great, and get some additional content. So with that being said, let's talk about Creed 3. I just saw it yesterday, and I'm excited today to give you my thoughts on the film. Some pros, some cons, what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, and I just gave you some numbers in terms of how it did in the theater in terms of its performance. Let's talk. So, but before I do that, let me say this real quick. I've been a fan of the Rocky films. I've seen all of them except for I think Rocky Balboa. I don't think I saw that one, but I think the rest of them I saw, including all three Creed films, or the spin-offs of the Rocky films. That kind of actually ties into something I'm going to share a little later. But I've been a fan of them, and I think it's been amazing at what they've done with the story. Right? Obviously, Rocky Balboa, like that is just kind of one of those iconic movie series or whatever. It's just untouchable. It's definitely Sylvester Stallone's one of his best series, and he's had a couple of different Rambo things like that. But Rocky is definitely one of his hallmark series or whatnot movies, and so I think it's been awesome with the way that they've done the whole story, spinning it off now to Adonis, the son of Apollo Creed, which was his best friend and at one point foe, the guy who gave him a shot, who was his arch enemy, but at one point they became friends. And so it's just it's cool to see that, and even apart from the Rocky series and what they've been doing with the Creed franchise as well. So I mean, everything from introducing him to the whole his issues with the Creed legacy, him meeting up with Rocky and all that type of thing, everything everything that kind of goes on with Adonis in that movie. Then they hit us with the Drago versus Adonis joint. When I saw that, I said, you got to be kidding me. The storyline now, he's him fighting the son of the man who killed his father. I think the whole storyline of that was just amazing to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, as someone again who's Rocky 4 is definitely one of those ones, one of the Rocky films, probably the one that stands out to most in people's minds for the most part. I would step out and say, but to have him to kind of bring a full circle moment with that, it's been pretty cool. And then obviously with now Ivan Drago's in it, and then Rocky, like their history together, did what they did in that film, and then now they hit us with the third one, Creed 3, and that's where we are today. But let's talk. Y'all didn't click on this thing to watch, just hear me talk about how I like it. Right? Let's talk about Creed 3. So let's talk about it's essentially the premise, right, of the film, right? Adonis, I'll try to keep the spoilers to a minimum for those who have not seen it, but I'm sure there will be some spoilers in this joint. So Adonis, it opens up. They show the background between him and Jonathan Majors in the movie. I think it's Damian Anderson. I think is his name. Is the character that Jonathan Majors is playing. Lays the foundation for their relationship, or of their relationship, in the beginning of the film. Shows how Adonis is, he retires from boxing, goes more into promotion and things like that, and then his friend comes out, played by Jonathan Majors. Damian Anderson comes out, and through their relationship, who also was a Golden Glove boxer, who was he was on track to being Adonis until he got locked up. I won't go into all the ins and outs about how that happened, but he does get locked up. He comes back home. Adonis gives him some shot. He makes it very clear to Adonis that he's coming for some belts. And so Adonis through a series of events, he positions himself to be the number one contender to fight one of Adonis's fighters to become the heavyweight champ. And so then it kind of goes on from there with some of the tension that they showed in this movie between those two characters was felt all throughout it, almost from when he was introduced, from when the first time you see Jonathan Majors. Now, before they get to a fight, before they have a falling out, before any of that stuff, there was already tension all throughout the movie. It was stuff that you can tell that wasn't being said, that they did a great job of capturing that. So so it gets to a point where they have a falling out, and Damian goes his own way. He keeps tossing shots at Adonis, making it clear to him that he's coming for all the belts. He's trying to take everything, and that's ultimately what ends up happening is them fighting in the last towards the end of the film. So let's get into some of the pros. Some of the things I really liked about the movie. Now, let me start off by saying my very first one is probably going to rub some people the wrong way, but it's okay. Maybe it's a hot take. I don't know. I think the fact that they did not have Sylvester Stallone in this film helped the movie a lot. It helped the movie a lot. I shared this with a friend of mine yesterday, and before he knew where I was going with it, he tried to no, don't say it. It's the truth, right? In my opinion, if they would have think about this, right? For all you Sylvester Stallone fans and Rocky fans, and I'm one of them. You know what I'm saying? No diss to Sylvester Stallone, diss to Rocky. But had they had him in the film, they would have had to now share screen time, number one, but then also still have to kind of deal with Rocky's story. And so I think that would have taken away from what they did with Adonis, right? And him and Damian's relationship. It would have taken away from that. And not having him in the film was, I think, a benefit. It was a good thing that they did not have him in there. Secondly, Michael B. Jordan. For everyone who's a hater someone who questions and doubts Michael B. Jordan, let me say this right now. He completely silenced everybody in this film. Just keeping it a buck, in my opinion. Now, I wasn't the biggest fan. I wouldn't say I'm a hater of Michael B. Jordan, but I wouldn't say he was my top 5, top 10 actors, nothing like that. I was not the biggest fan of his Killmonger. I said it. But in this film, he does a great job. Him and Jonathan Majors, their chemistry, the way they complement each other on film in this movie is amazing. He does a great job of capturing the guilt, the grief of feeling like he abandoned Damian when he needed him the most. Everything that he's carrying around, Michael B. Jordan puts out on display in such a great way, and just shows you his acting ability. And then also his ability as a director. Michael B. Jordan killed the game in this film and made me more of a believer. Another thing that I really liked about the film is that I think it brought home this idea that as men, we tend to carry around a lot of stuff. It goes into, they show Adonis, his history with being abused and things like that, and him not wanting to talk to his wife about it, and just carrying around so much stuff that it started to impact even their relationship to a degree. And how men, we tend to carry around a lot of stuff we go through. Maybe some trauma from childhood, or just things that have been done to us that wasn't our fault, that we may think was our fault, or we take complete blame for stuff that wasn't completely our fault, and things like that. And so you see that happen with Adonis. So I think that it was cool that they touched on that aspect of men, and just carrying around a lot of stress, a lot of issues, and just not being people who are as open as sometimes women are, and we end up it being to our fault. And so they did a really good job of even showing that aspect of something that I think can connect with many audiences. Next up, Jonathan Majors, who is arguably a good friend of mine said this yesterday that he's the next guy up. All right. I think that he does such a good job of being the antagonist, right, in the film, and it's such a good counter, right, to Adonis, and just really in his story, Jonathan Majors does such a good job of kind of showing the betrayal that he felt, the abandonment that he felt, and everything that honestly I felt I got Rocky 3 vibes right watching this film. If you remember Rocky 3 with Clubber Lang, where Mr. T playing Clubber Lang, where you got Rocky who's kind of like, who's lost the eye of the tiger, right? He lost his edge. He's kind of gotten Hollywood and things like that. Versus now this guy who's hungry, who's ready, and he's coming straight for Rocky's neck. You see that dynamic happening. Is really reminiscent of Rocky 3. And Jonathan Majors plays that role amazingly. Not as like, as not the same way that Mr. T did, but in very similar in the sense of like kind of the talking, the jabs, all that stuff. But it makes it even more personal because of the history that him and Damien share with one another. And they do such a good job again creating that tension, creating the making him the villain that you want to see Adonis knock out. You know what I'm saying? That you want to see him win. But then at the same time, at the end of it, you still feel sorry for him at the same time because you know his story and where he came from. And so they do such a good job of doing that. And he did such a good job of bringing that to the film, and opposite of Michael B. Jordan and opposite of Adonis creating this film. That, I mean, the entire time I'm watching it, you're seeing, it just kind of, it draws you in. Which brings me to the storyline overall, which I kind of gave a brief synopsis of. But they do such a good job of, honestly, by the time you get to the last fight, it wasn't even a thing where they did such a good job of building up the story and the background of both of them and their relationship that by the time you got to the fight, you want to see Adonis win, but it's the story that you're thinking about. Like, even the way that they did the shots in the film, it doesn't go the same. It doesn't follow the same formula, so to speak, in fights like that, where the main guy he's getting beat up on like all crazy, and then he gets back up in the last 2 seconds and knocks the guy. It was a lot more than that. It was a lot more emotional, a lot more layered than that. For that scene, I think that Michael B. Jordan, if this is any indication about the type of director that he is, I think he has a bright future as a director in Hollywood. He already has an established acting career, but if he just continues to direct and continue to exercise that muscle and that skill, I think it would be amazing for him. But also do the storyline. They also do a deeper dive on Adonis. You see him more as a father in this film. You see him more as a husband. You see him even as a fighter. You see his IQ or whatnot in a couple of different scenes, including the last one. His IQ as a fighter. They just do such a good job of just developing his character that, again, had Rocky been in the film, I think it would have detracted from that and would have taken away from that a bit. Also, the legacy, right? You see his daughter. They may at some point do something, maybe that's in the next phase or whatnot, and the next spinoff is going to be the story with his daughter, but she clearly is now getting into fighting, right? Now, and also you see him having the opportunity to be the father to his daughter that he did not have, right? He took up boxing, but he didn't have Apollo there with him. Now he's able to and I know him and Tessa Thompson, like, they have differences of, opinions on her fighting, but Tessa Thompson plays his wife. They have differences of opinion on that, but you see him now as a parent, right now, kind of filling that gap that he had coming up. So now he's able to fill it. Now I think they may do a spinoff where now she becomes the next person, the next movie maybe that's based around her storyline. I don't know, but it definitely looks like they're continuing this idea of the Creed legacy in boxing, which is pretty dope to see. So when we come to things I didn't like about the film, honestly, it wasn't much. I'm sitting here thinking about things that I didn't like about it. I was thinking about it, and it's not much. I will say this though. I think that and this is a spoiler. What happens with his mother? I think that the death scene of his mom. I think that they could have maybe giving that a little bit more because it felt a bit rushed. Like, you knew she had health problems or whatnot in the film. They put that out there, but I think that they probably could have like maybe given it a little bit more time before she passed. It kind of felt a bit rushed, just a little bit. But again, they did say the health problems that she had, so it wasn't like random, but it just felt just a tad bit rushed. But again, that's a small thing in comparison to the rest of the film, and so yeah, I think it was amazing overall. But so it's not much I didn't like about it, to be honest with you. So, but with that being said, I would give Creed 3, if I were doing a rating of out of 10, I would give Creed 3 because of the storyline, the character development, just really those things alone, and also the quality of acting that we saw in this film. I would say 9.5 out of 10 for this film. I know it feels high, it feels super high, it is, but I'll say a 9.5 out of 10 for Creed. I think that those who have been fans of the film, the franchise, I think that this is definitely the best one. I think this is an example of a franchise, one of those things that has constantly been getting better and better, and that's what you want to see with movies like this. So check it out. I definitely highly recommend it. Yeah, with that being said, this is Michael Miles with the Plot Twist 215. Please, again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Hit the notification bell and check out the Plot Twist 215 podcast on Spotify. I'll be working on getting it on other platforms, but don't forget to do that. With that being said, y'all, peace.